My name is Meredith. I'm the Coalition Coordinator for Fossil Free Eugene. We are a group of local organizations that are dedicated to promoting access to clean energy here in the city of Eugene and to providing a just, affordable, and livable future here in our city. We are really fortunate to have some awesome folks from some great organizations. So we'll go around and I'll let them introduce themselves. Starting, Alejandro is here and he'll be back. He stepped out real quick. But I'm going to pass it to the folks at Homes for Good.
Hello everyone, I'm Esteban, he, him pronouns, and I'm the Energy Services Director at Homes for Good. I'm here with some other of my colleagues in the team.
Hi, I'm Marley Cruz with Homes for Good as well, Energy Services.
And I'm Lacey Lacoste, also with Energy Services, Weatherization team.
Hi everyone, my name is Tim Morris. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the Executive Director of the Springfield Eugene Tenant Association with free information and resources in case you need any support in your apartment. I'll be here all day. Thanks.
And then we're also really grateful to have Edie who's here providing interpretation. And so if you would like to use that service and didn't grab one on the way in, we've got more headsets back here. We also have some folks, we have Isa, who is our intern, who's going to be recording the event. She'll just be recording the presentation portion. And then we've got a couple folks here from the press who you may see taking some photos. Again, they will just be doing photos of the presenters. If you would like to chat with them afterwards, if you have stories that you want to share, definitely give them away, flag them down. All right, here's what we'll be going through this evening. We're going to be talking first about the health risks from heat and smoke, as well as where you can cool off in our area, where we can find some outdoor relief. Then we're going to turn our attention to inside your home, whether it's an apartment or a freestanding house, a duplex, whatever your home space looks like. We're going to talk about how you can keep the hot air and smoke out and keep that cool air in. We'll talk about ways to keep the air in your home healthy, whether that's from pollutants that are coming in from the outside or that are produced inside the home. After that, we'll have our hands-on portion. We've got box fans for you to take home. We've got air filters to take with them, so you'll get to build an air purifier to take home with you today. After that, there is a portion where folks who are renters will have a presentation from Tim with CETA, so they'll talk about the renter's right to cooling, habitability, thank you, and ways to work with your landlord. So if they're not following through on what they're supposed to do, what steps you can take and where to get support with that. We'll also have some resource gathering. We're going to do a raffle and a survey. So at your spots, you should have a little card and a pen. If you want to be in our raffle, jot your name down and I'll collect those a little later on. We're going to be raffling off some induction burners. Just like this one up here, this is a great way to be able to cook using less energy and producing less nasty stuff in your air. Especially if you have natural gas in your home, if that's your cooking source, this is going to be a really big improvement over that. And then we've got a couple door and window snakes. We talk about those a lot in our winter workshops, but they're really useful in the summer as well for keeping smoke out. So we'll be raffling off some of the materials for those too. We're going to start by talking about the health risks from heat and smoke. There are a lot of them listed up here. We're not going to go through all of them, but I'm sure that you all have experienced what it feels like in your body when we've got a really hot day. And you know, those are becoming more and more frequent in Oregon. It looks like we're about to set a record region-wide this coming weekend, and then looking ahead to this summer, we're expecting it to be a very hot summer. So this is a very important thing to be thinking about. This goes into the difference between heat stroke and heat exhaustion. And basically, we want to protect ourselves as much as we can by making sure that we are staying cool, staying in the shade when it's really hot out if possible. One of the things that they found during one of the last heat domes was that Lane County had didn't have any deaths compared to the statewide findings, and so that was really what they were guessing was due to cooling centers that Lane County activated. It's also important to note that there are workplace health and safety requirements that workplaces are required to provide. So whether you're working indoors, where maybe there isn't air conditioning, or whether you're working outside, there are things that are in place from the state to protect you. OSHA is an important place to get information on that, and they've got these cards, you know, that it shows up here, but you can get smaller pocket-sized versions of that. They go through, again, those differences between heat exhaustion and heat stroke, how to respond if you see, you know, a coworker or a colleague or someone in your place of work who is experiencing those symptoms, what steps you can take. What's also really helpful is it goes through the difference between the actual temperature and the heat index. The heat index is what it actually feels like to us. Sometimes the temperature will say one thing, but because of the humidity, it will feel much hotter. When it's really humid, we're not able to sweat and let off heat that way. And so humidity really affects our body's ability to handle that heat stress. Here in Eugene, we are fortunate, although there's a lot more that could be done, we're fortunate to have some really nice green spaces. Shaded areas with trees can be as many as 20 to 45 degrees cooler, especially if they are areas that are consistently shaded throughout the day, where they're not, you know, accumulating a lot of heat from sunshine in the morning or in the afternoon. So if you are wanting to get outdoors this summer, definitely seek out those spots with lots of shade or tree cover. Water features provide similar benefits. So finding areas where there's the free splash pads, spray play areas at our parks, fountains, things like that, those are all really helpful. Lane County provides cooling centers and clean air spaces when there are extreme weather events where it's really hot and smoky, and so those can all be found on Lane County's website. We've also put together a map that has a lot of that information, so information about cooling centers, where to find water features, so which parks have splash pads, spray play areas. Yeah. You're fine.
I'm not sure if I remember it correctly. Were the buses free to the cooling center, or
I believe that's something they've done in the past. I think that that's usually a decision between the Office of Emergency Management and LTD, that they have kind of an agreement system, and to my knowledge, they've utilized that during evacuations as well, but I don't know that that's something they always consistently do, but definitely a good thing to check, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, great question.
Was that?
What was that?
You said the office, between office of
I think it's the Office of Emergency Services, Emergency Management. It's escaping me right now, sorry.
Well, it's,
And then yeah, go ahead.
no, it's also like, now would be the time to like petition them to start implementing the protocols, so that.
Absolutely.
we start talking about it. And
Yes.
see that we should put this, or start thinking about this, because it's gonna get hot.
Yes. Yeah, and that's a really great thing for the folks who are in those decision-making positions to hear. Absolutely. So yeah, this map also will have where we've got little free fridges. So around our community, there's free pantries that folks have set up, and some of those have a refrigerator. So they provide cold water and cold food. So those are a great resource to access as well. A lot of our community centers open to the public, and then there's some other specific resources that provide spaces for specific groups or specific populations, and so you'll find those on that map as well. And that's available on the QR code up here. You're welcome to take a picture. It's also on the resource sheet that you have. So on the front, we've got this nice schematic of a house. And then on the back, there's a lot of really great resources. And so the one that you'll see on the left over there about staying cool outside is a link to that map as well. A couple other great local resources that I want to highlight. One is called Lane Alerts. And specifically heading into summer, they're a great place to get evacuation notices. They'll give information about what area is being evacuated, where it's being evacuated to, and then if there's things like transportation resources, those would be included there. That runs all year, and so other kinds of natural disasters or crises that might happen, severe winter weather, things like that, will also, they'll share notifications and information about that. The FireWise program that's up here provides information on home hardening and how to protect your space. If you live kind of on the edge of town, outside of town, on that wildland urban interface, it's especially important to make sure that we're clearing some space around our house. And they have some resources for that. They're not accepting applications for this current year, but they will still have information on their website about what their qualification requirements are, what things you need to do to apply, and what that process looks like. We also have some emergency water stations around our community. These are activated in an incident like an earthquake, but if something like that were to happen in the summer, we really want to make sure that we're getting to those. They're spread out around our area. They're run by eWeb. You do have to bring your own container. They don't have the containers there, and so you just bring a container and then fill it up. They have done events in the past where you can just go try it out and where they're teaching people about it. I'm not sure if they have any planned right now, but maybe. No, I'm getting a head shake. Thank you. Any questions at all about any of those community resources? Yeah.
They accept any type of container I can bring that holds water? Doesn't have to be up this food spec or whatever.
No, they do suggest, strongly encourage that it be sanitized beforehand, but the water is just going into it, so it wouldn't be an issue of contaminating someone else's water. It would just be an issue of the water being safe for you to consume. Yeah. And again, this is something that they activate during large-scale emergencies specifically. Any other questions about any of those resources? Well, we're going to talk now about staying safe and cool inside your home. We'll shift our focus and think about the spaces where we live, where we spend a lot of our time. Sometimes the indoor air quality is even worse than the outdoor air quality. And there's two different factors that are really impacting our air inside our home. One is the pollutants that are coming from outside that might be coming in through vents, through crawl spaces, through gaps around our windows or doors. And then there's also pollutants that are produced inside the home. And then the same goes for heat. There's heat that comes in from outside, from the sun, especially if we have a lot of south-facing windows. And then there's heat that's produced inside the home. You can find information about the outdoor air quality through sources like Purple Air or the state DEQ website. If you have a smartphone, your weather app on your phone might also get AQI information, although sometimes, depending on the source, that's not as accurate, just depending on where it comes from. So it's good to know what's going on outside so that we know both for when we go outside and also we know what the air might be like inside our home. We're going to give you a minute now to take a look at these papers that you have, and you should have a pen. Give a wave if you don't have one. I'm going to give you all about, we'll start with like 5 minutes or so, to identify the spaces where heat and smoke come into your space. And it might also be those same spaces where cold air comes in the winter. So if you haven't been in your space very long and you're not sure, think about that as well. But this has some ideas and some suggestions. Go ahead and take some time and start doing some circling those or making notes, thinking about where you have issues in your specific space. Yeah, Esteban.
Just wanted to share that one trick is look for spider webs. They like where there's airflow. So if you're not sure where, there might be a little crack or something. You see spider web, let's go down.
What
Or-
if they're all over?
You get a jockey shack.
Then you've got great ventilation, yes. Or if you have a cat, there's one spot where your cat always likes to lie, that might be where it's nice and warm and cozy. So go ahead and take a few minutes and note where those spots are in your home, and then we'll come back together and we'll talk about them.
But that house was built in 1890s or whatever, so, you know, they weren't really about that. It's probably pretty simple. Oh, yeah. I used to live in this apartment, we usually this house, and at night, I was like the only night owl. Enjoyed it, the night, there was this small, loud, under the oven. The oven. I don't know if it's down there, it was an old house, and it was cut up on a hilltop, so like, it was just dirt under there somewhere, but I remember the first time I discovered one by stepping on it, it was like the worst feeling. Yeah, you're like, you know, it's dark, it's like 1 o'clock, you step on it, you're like, oh, some silly on the ground, you know, for dinner, and you're like, oh, that's a slide. Gross. Oh, yeah.
Let's go ahead and do about 2 more minutes.
Where are you from?
I got you.
How are you? How are you doing? Are you adapting? I started as an intern in college and that was 2022. So I've been freelancing or what, yeah, freelancing and then full-time for 2 I went to UL and I'm from Portland, so. I like this. Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and hear what some of those problem areas are. What are the spaces that don't work well in your home? Yeah.
You got gaps around the windows, the building's tilted, and nothing's square anymore.
Yeah.
So I gotta figure out what to fill the gaps. And then around the door, front door, it's the same thing. The exhaust fan, it turns on, but it doesn't pull anything in, so I assume it's not, like, it doesn't take anything out, so I assume it's not coming in. Those are the main,
Those are the main ones.
those are the leaks I can't figure out how to handle.
Yeah, those are great examples. So what we heard up here were gaps around the windows and doors, but specifically because of the way the house has settled, they are wider in some spaces than others, which makes it really hard. The weather stripping tape that we often use around those is specific for different thicknesses, and so depending on how different the gaps are, yeah, there's some tricky math involved, right? And just trying to fill it as much as we can. Yeah. Yeah, any Homes for Good folks? Any special tips or tricks for different size gaps?
We typically just use like some kind of caulking or something like that, and also spray foam. So there is some like non-toxic spray foam that you can't find. It's okay to use instead of foam, and those work pretty good. They'll expand and cover like multiple size gaps. Those might be for a permanent solution. That's good.
Awesome, thank you.
To use that, I would have to talk to the landlord first,
Right.
right?
Yes. Yeah, that would be changes that would require a landlord's permission. Yeah, if it's a rental. Yes. Yeah. Great call. Yeah.
You can buy doors that have a pre-frame and then install those, and then you have a square that you're going based on, and then you can fill in around the square with a pre-squared solid frame.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great, yeah, for folks who are ready for a bigger project, that's an awesome idea. Thank you. Yeah. What are some other difficult areas? Yeah. Good.
There was well, there used to be a fireplace, but it's not operational. But there's still air that comes through.
Yeah.
I myself am too scared to like look in there. So I just put it like a dresser in front of it. But every once in a while that curtain door will open, and it's like, cause from the air coming through.
So even though you have furniture in front of it, right, there's still enough airflow. So you could take, a piece of cardboard even and just tape it over that, and that'll help block it. And then if you wanted it to be a little thicker, just to provide a little bit more insulation, that'll even be helpful. And that's something that you could take down if you needed to, if you do want to investigate the creepy space.
You can just take a couple of square feet of insulation and shove it directly into the tube that is allowing for the vent or the exhaust, and then whatever you cover it with. But if there's nothing that is kind of a thicker soft barrier, it'll still keep sucking if you use something flat. Also, you can go up to the top and seal the independent ports, and that'll prevent the cross flow that pulls the air.
Great, thank you. And then, did you?
I was gonna say the fireplace for
Uh-huh.
me too, but for me, I was always like the attic is always hotter versus than the downstairs.
Yeah. Is it an attic that you access, or do you just know that the heat's coming in that way?
I have access to it from inside the house. I think it's not insulated.
Yeah, which is often the case, especially in a lot of
Yeah.
the older homes in Eugene,
Like,
right?
the house,
Yeah.
Upstairs is super hot and downstairs is
Mhm.
hot, and my room unfortunately is upstairs. So
Yeah.
I feel the heat more than
Yes.
when they do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and so again, that's one where it depends on how big of a project you want to take on. And when we talk about, when Homes for Good does their presentation, they'll talk about some of the things that they do and the services they offer with insulation, because sometimes there's support that we can get with those projects. But as far as just, temporary quick fix solutions, it's hard when it's that whole space. So sometimes our best bet is just moving downstairs if we can. If there's a really, really hot spell, if there's a week where we're having a heat dome and it's just unbearably hot, that's a nice time to camp out in someone else's room or in the living room. Yeah. Yes. And sometimes that's what we have to do. We'll talk about this more when we talk about air quality, but if we have a home where there's a lot of smoke or particulate matter coming in, sometimes we need to designate one particular room that's going to be our cool and clean room, and that's the one room that we really try to keep cool and that we try to keep the air pretty clear, so that we have one space we can hunker down. Yeah, and we can get cozy. Yeah. Who doesn't love a good slumber party? Yeah. Mhm.
I've seen people where when it's cold, they'll put a tent up in their house.
Mhm.
To keep them be warm.
I can hold the mic.
Yeah, let me go deal with my motorcycle. If anyone has a motorcycle on the sidewalk, please go and do what you need to do. So you're asking about, like you would set up a tent in the winter. Yeah.
I've never heard them make an announcement ever. Would that work for smoke issues, or would it just be too hot?
The issue with that is primarily the heat, yeah. And that's going to be keeping some of like the carbon monoxide, like some of that won't filter through the tent as well, so you would have kind of some air quality issues in there. But part of the reason why we would do a tent in a cold spell, maybe where the power was out, to really make, one small warm space, is because that's going to be holding in the heat from your body, which is not what we want in the summertime. Unless you want a little like cozy living room sauna. Other spots that might be hard?
I have some old windows that there's like they slide and there's a gap between them that lets some air.
So that, I'm trying to picture this. So you've got, is it single pane probably?
Probably.
Okay. And then the gap between, like, horizontally or vertically?
The gap is horizontally.
Okay.
Between the two sills.
Yeah. Yeah, so that might be something where, if that's a window that you want to be able to open, which I'm guessing probably you do, because probably that's partially how you get fresh air, cool air in your space. That might be something where you could put a door or window snake just to cover it up when you need it covered. Which might be all the time if it's big enough for bugs to come in, if you end up with mosquitoes.
A lot of times it's framed out windows, especially single pane, when you get a lot of air gaps, you can just cut a piece of like thick mill plastic and then run thin wood lattice around the sill, so you're essentially just boxing in the window with the clear plastic framing in the winter, and that nominalizes any kind of airflow through there, especially in older houses. There's always extra air somewhere.
And And there's a lot of older houses in Eugene that have that issue for sure. Yeah. Any other tricky issues that folks found either looking at this or just thinking about their space? Uh-huh.
I just thought of, like a door wipe or a sill wipe that goes on the bottom of the door.
Yeah.
I've replaced mine about 3 times because the door's crooked. And I'm wondering maybe you build it up to try and get it level with the bottom. But trying to figure out how to seal that also.
Yeah.
Because they keep breaking because it's tied one in and loses the other.
Yeah, some of the ones that are, I'm not sure what kind you're using, but they have ones that are designed to be somewhat temporary, so folks can put them on and take them off, like, you know, if they are moving out of a rental and they need to, you know, take it with them. And those are kind of a softer rubber, and so you might be able with some really good, you know, thicker, heavier duty scissors or maybe some sort of shears or something to cut one end down a little bit, you know, just to kind of cut off a little and see if you can get it enough shorter that it's not wearing down so fast maybe.
So a custom cut.
Yeah. You're gonna have all sorts of customized projects in your space.
Yeah. It's a Rube Goldberg place.
All right.
She
Oh,
wanted to ask.
yes.
She said on the side of her window, the front side, she has a window and then she has curtains on the inside of her home, but the sun hits directly that side of the house. So she's asking any suggestions to put outside the window.
Yeah, so that's a great place to put curtains on the outside too. You can have some curtains on the inside, but then if you have some sort of blinds on the outside, that will help even more to keep the heat out. And those can be as, you know, as simple or as fancy as you want, but it's a great way to help protect them. Even, you know, sometimes using, you know, if we're really DIYing it, curtains, blankets, towels, whatever we've got. Yeah. And then as you think about the space of your home, you can think about which way the air flows. You know, if your windows are on a warmer or a cooler side, you might have airflow coming in different ways. So that can help you be strategic in thinking about where you're putting your wonderful box fan DIY air purifier or other fans or air purifiers that you have. If you have a portable air conditioner, thinking about where you put that. And you can try a few different spots with these things and see which one is helping you the most, where you've got the best impact. Any other last questions here before we move on? All right. Awesome. So those are all of our quick fix, you know, things that we can do ourselves without getting out a bunch of big tools, without investing a bunch of money. But you might find that your space really needs some larger upgrades or some bigger changes. And these are helpful to do not just for keeping our spaces cooler, keeping our air a little bit cleaner, but also helping with our bills. When we make our spaces more weatherized, whether it's keeping out the cold air in the winter or the hot air in the summer, this helps reduce some of our biggest energy consumption costs that show up on our bills. Some examples of this might be putting that thicker, better insulation under, on the sides, and then up at the top, putting in an electric heat pump, maybe getting some solar panels, and having more efficient appliances like an electric water heater or a heat pump hot water heater, electric stoves, all those good things. But of course, these are not cheap, right? And these are, as I mentioned, these help not only make our spaces more comfortable, but they help with reducing our bills. Here in Lane County, roughly 34% of our homes are what's called energy burdened. That means that they're spending more than 6% of their income on energy costs. So when those bills from our utility providers are coming in, it's 6% or more than what we make. Severely energy burdened homes spend more than 10% of their income on energy costs. And as utility costs are getting more and more expensive as inflation's going up, more of us are getting pushed into that category, and those costs are just continuing to rise. So whether we're doing those quick fixes that we talked about or bigger projects, all of those things are helping with the financial side of things as well. And it's important to do that math and figure out whether you fall into one of those categories, because being energy burdened or severely energy burdened, how much you're spending on those costs, how much your income is, helps figure out if you qualify for a lot of programs, including some of the ones that our friends are going to talk about.
All right, thank you all for joining us. So like I said, I'm Esteban, he, him pronouns. I work at Homes for Good. I'm the Energy Services Director. And I'm gonna talk about what we call Weatherization Assistance Program, which is like our main program there. But we also run a few different ones. So I'll try to just go over, give you like an overview of what it is. I'll start with saying this program serves both homeowners and renters. So when we think about that piece, it's important to keep that in mind. And really what we do is that we serve all homes inside Lane County who are income qualify. And income qualify is you need to be at or below 200% federal poverty line. Another marker that can be used is LIHEAP. I don't know how many of you have heard of LIHEAP or applied for LIHEAP before. Awesome. So yeah, LIHEAP is a low income household energy assistance program, I believe is what it stands for, hopefully. And if you qualify for LIHEAP, which actually uses the local area, medium local area, what is it? IMI, area medium income, that's what it is. Thank you. Struggle on that one. That is just 60% of it, but it's actually very close. And so the program allows us to use the same LIHEAP application you put with the county to go to Homes for Good and apply for the Weatherization Assistance Program. So I'll talk about what we do on there, and it's basically a very comprehensive full house approach. We can't really go into a home and kind of pick and choose. We need to go and do an entire study, an assessment of the home. We call it an energy audit. We even measure infiltration and things like that, and then we determine what are the most cost effective, based on some modeling tools and different software we have to use. What are the most cost effective measures to do in that home? And it's all free. Whether you're a homeowner, whether you are a renter, it would be all free of cost for you. There is a wait list, that is a caveat, and so there is a lot of people sign up, even though we do not necessarily advertise this a lot. We come here, we share with you all the time, and that's one way we do, and also word of mouth. Like I said, it is pretty comprehensive, the work we do, and people definitely like to talk about it. So I'm gonna move through the slides. Thank you. Just click. All right. So yeah, the Weatherization Assistance Program then, high level, this is basically a program that was put into effect in the 1970s, maybe 1976, by the Department of Energy. And the idea was to help homes save in energy, exactly for all the reasons already that my colleague was talking about here. It focuses on some main points that need to be addressed, and those are mechanical measures, the building shell, and that's all the insulation, the air infiltration, all of that. The base load, and that is anything that is not heating or cooling. So your water that you drink, your lights, things that you use throughout the entire year, whether it's winter or summer. That's base load basically. And then health and safety measures. And that is a little bit limited, and a little bit we kind of try to play with that and figure out what is the most cost-effective thing we can do again, and how do we make the most impact. And we try to do that on a case-by-case basis. So it's really hard. There are some kind of prescriptive things that we do, and those would be the carbon monoxide or smoke alarms and things like that. But for the most part, it's on a case-by-case basis when we go there. All right, jump to the next. We have another program that we run there, a smaller program now, and this one's called a climate crisis. And that one is actually useful for when it's either too hot or too cold. So talking about the heat spells, for example. What we do here is if you had a heating system or cooling system that is not working, right? It broke, and we are in the middle of this instance where it's very hot, very cold, one of those spells. You can call us and we can assess the situation. We normally try to respond within 48 hours, and then we'll fix it and hopefully upgrade it or change it if it's possible. Again, this is funded by the LIHEAP program, so it's Lane County. It is definitely not like very heavily funded, so there isn't a whole lot, and it's first comes first base, so we try to get to as many people as we can. We try to partner with utilities as well, and sometimes that helps us and we can get to more people and help more folks. But again, if you're experiencing any problem, we always encourage you, call, go to our webpage, look and find out if we are open, if we have a wait list currently, and you can sign up, and we'll try to get there as soon as we can. To the next one. Currently, we are now running another, like a sister program on top of all of this, which has been great. And that was the Oregon Health Authority put out a grant for what is called Healthy Homes Program. And the way that we kind of wrote our application for that was to try to run it together in tandem with the Weatherization Assistance Program and with the climate crisis. So when somebody is experiencing one of those unfortunate events and has no heat or something, and there is no LIHEAP dollars, we are still able to go out there, use Healthy Homes dollars, and still be able to help them and try to have the most, the biggest impact that we can. It also allows us to address some of those health and safety issues that we might not have dollars from the Department of Energy to do it. So we are able to do it with this now. I don't have the exact numbers, let's see, of like how many homes we've helped this year, but I'll get those for you later, because we just implemented it, I think it was last year, right, when we finally got the grant. So it's kind of new for us, but it's very exciting. We've been able to help a lot of people. So one way in which we measure what work we are doing is really community impact, and this is like some information that we actually take directly from the Department of Energy webpage. They have what they call a fact sheet. And this is just kind of like just to show like what the intersection is between the Weatherization Assistance Program, like the work that we do, and other issues, like other social or community issues and impact. And so they have reported there and in their studies that, for example, the energy burden, like was being talked about before, can be lower. There's savings due to fewer days missed from work. So we know that there's a big health impact, for example, that has been reported. They have that $538 in savings per year per household is what they calculate once you get weatherization in average. There is also, let's see, about $514 according to this 2023 fact sheet that per year a person can save in out-of-pocket expenses for like medical bills and things. And this is just by making the home more comfortable, more energy efficient, and healthier. Again, this was from 2023. I believe it comes out every 2 years-ish, so there should be a new one coming out soon, we're hoping, but this is the last one that we had. Oh, and now, back then, there was 7.2 million families who were assisted throughout the entire country, the entire US, so it's a pretty big impact. I think that was all for us.
That's great. Yeah, any questions about anything that Esteban shared?
Yeah.
How long is the wait list?
It depends on several factors. So actually we use something that is called priority points that was also designed by the Department of Energy. And the priority points are, you sign up for the list, and if there is somebody with disabilities in your home, you'll get a point. If there is an elderly person, so this is 60 or older, you'll get another point. And if there's children in your home also, so anybody 18 or younger than 18, that's also another point. And so depending on when you sign up and how many points in priority you have, that's how quickly we might get to you. So it's kind of hard to calculate, and we've been trying to implement this and work through this. Currently we are working primarily with folks who I believe sign up in like 2021, 2021, 2022. So it's a few years of wait, yes. It's a long wait list right now. I believe there's about 400 and something people, and it keeps growing all the time. There were any other questions? Yes.
Does it apply to owner or renter?
Yes, owners or renters can apply. So once we have what we call like an interest list, or like an interest form. You can find it online, you can come to our office, give us a call, however you want. And this is the application. This holds your place on the wait list, right? You won't give us like all of your income information or any of that at that moment, because we're gonna need to certify that when we come to your home anyway. So you'll just give us like basic information, you sign up, and then this application follows you. So it follows the person. So if you're a renter and you happen to move somewhere else, it goes with you. It doesn't matter. What we ask of you is let us know. You change your phone number, you change your address, let us know. We'll update it on there, and when your name comes up and we'll call you, doesn't matter where you are, we'll still go and do the assessment and do the whole thing. As long as it's in Lane County. Yes, please.
I brought some applications today.
Awesome, yes. Awesome, yes, we got applications with income guidelines. Any other questions?
If your situation changes during the wait list process, you know, like an emergency happens or anything, is there a way to like get bumped up or a review for expediting your application quicker?
That is a great question. Yes. If your situation changes and you now like meet more priority points, so let's say yes, now there's somebody disabled in your home, right? Your elderly parent came to live with you or something like that. Let's say yes, that'll give you more points. And you can definitely call us, let us know, and we will do that. We also partner with some other community organizations as well. So St. Vincent de Paul is one of them. They offer I believe it's called a loan forgiveness program, where if you like live rural, not within the city limits here of Eugene or Springfield, but if you're rural, they will give you a loan and help you with all these repairs and things, and you don't have to pay it back. So when you're in the process of doing that and you get qualified and everything's ready with them, if you're also on our wait list, they come and check in with us and say, where are they on the wait list? We're gonna do this, can you prioritize and help? And then what we do is we stack all the funds, and then we do as much as we can in one shot. Because if you're gonna have contractors there and we're gonna be working, we just bump you up and try to do as much as we can. You're welcome. Other questions? All right, well, thank you all very much, and I think we'll be in there.
Thank you. And if there's more questions that you think of, the Homes for Good folks will be there. So at the end, when we do our resource gathering and have time, you can go and chat with them. This is another website that I want to make sure folks know about. This is run through the state of Oregon. It's incentives.gov. It used to have this really cute purple hippo on it that's not there anymore. But anyway, so sometimes you see it described as like the purple hippo website, but that doesn't make as much sense anymore. So they have a form that you can fill out where you say whether you rent or own your home, your zip code, who your utilities are, your household income, tax filing status, household size, all that information. And they use that to show you what you qualify for. So the information they give you is all going to be specific to the area that you live. Maybe it's going to be something that's run through your utility. Maybe it has to do with your income or your household size. It's taking all of that information and figuring out which ones are applicable to your situation. So if there are some of those larger projects that you're interested in taking on and you want to see what programs are out there that could help make that a little bit more affordable, this is a great place to check. And this first one up here that you see highlighted is run by Homes for Good. Yay! I know, yeah, I pulled that from the old set of slides. And that resource, and many of the ones that we're talking about are all on this sheet as well. So if you don't have a chance to jot things down, you should be able to find it there. All right. Now we're going to focus in specifically on the air quality inside our home. And as I mentioned, sometimes our indoor air quality is even worse than the outdoor air quality, which is kind of wild to think about and seems like that shouldn't be the case, but that's what it is. So as I mentioned, some of that is from smoke that's coming in, but some of that is from the things that we're doing inside our home that are producing heat or producing air pollutants. These are examples up here of some ways to heat food that are not going to produce as much heat as cooking on our stove. I'm sure we all know if we bake on a hot summer day, it is not helpful, right? Frying things, it puts off a lot of extra particulate matter into the air. It worsens our air quality. But even, really simple stovetop cooking, boiling some water, that will also produce some heat. So if there's other ways that we can do that with a microwave or an induction burner, like I mentioned, something like a rice cooker, all of these appliances will produce less heat and less particulate matter. There's ways that we can monitor and check the air quality in our home, and fortunately our library provides those, and so you can borrow one of these air quality monitors from the library and you can run it. If you want to test out and see how well an air purifier works, you can, plug it in before you turn the purifier on, burn a bunch of candles or something, not on a smoky day, and then run it and see, how well the monitor works. That's one way that you can try out putting your monitor in different parts of your home and see, putting your purifier in different parts of your home to see what's most effective. So there's ways that you can play around and experiment and find out what's going to work best. If you have a couple different cooling sources, maybe you've got a really old air conditioning, you're not sure exactly how much energy it's using, this kilowatt energy usage monitor, which is also available from the library, you can borrow those. You just plug it into the wall, you plug the appliance in, and then turn it on and watch how many kilowatts of energy it's drawing, and you can use that to figure out how much it costs. So when you get your eWeb bill, it'll tell you, or whoever your utility is, if you're in Eugene, probably eWeb, it'll tell you, the price per unit of electricity. Just do that math, or just compare the numbers and see, oh, this is how much my air conditioning uses versus the fan. And that helps you make some strategic decisions when you're trying to save money around, which one you want to run and how often and how long you want to do that. Any questions about any of these tools? Yeah.
The air quality monitor, is that like a dehumidifier, only particulates that measures the dust or dirt or whatever in the air?
Yeah, it is. It's measuring. This one is set up to measure a few different things, and you can change the settings if you want to look more at. I'm trying to remember from when I tried it out. I think you could do more like allergens, like dust and pollen and that kind of stuff. Or there was one that was more like carbon dioxide and, volatile organic compounds. And yeah, there were some different options.
So it sounds like I could use it to test my air filter and or my air conditioner to see which one is cleaner.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it should work really well for that. Yeah, it took a little bit of figuring out, but I was pretty happy with it. No, maybe. But yeah, it's great to have these resources available for free through our library. So we're going to talk more about what to do if gas is your only cooking option in your home. So if you have a home that's using natural gas, methane gas for cooking, you're limited, right, in protecting air quality. Because even when we're burning just a little bit, you can see, and I might turn the lights down just a little bit. So this was from a project that our friends at Beyond Toxics did a few years back. So they went in and, with people's permission of course, and measured what this looks like and showed folks how much of all of these nasty yucky vents are coming off of our stoves when they're on. And you can see that even when it's down pretty low, there's a big plume that comes out. The camera uses a special filter that's able to show us that. And you can see there's just tons of yucky stuff that's coming off of our gas stoves. And especially when the air in our home is already compromised from something like a wildfire, this is just making it that much worse. If we have folks in our home who have asthma or who have other respiratory conditions, other health conditions where they're more sensitive to things like smoke or particulate matter in the air, we really want to be mindful about keeping them safe. So if this is our only cooking option, making sure that we run an exhaust fan, if we have a home that has a working exhaust fan, running a purifier, or even if we have someone who's particularly sensitive, having them not be in the room when we're cooking. If they can be somewhere else, that'll help them breathe a little bit easier. And this video is from that same project, and it just shows in real time. You can see all the yucky stuff that comes off of there. And then this chart from that same project shows how long it takes for all of that to dissipate over time. So for this one, they were running the oven and the stove. And so here's, when they first came in, turn the oven on, turn the stove on, turn the stove off. It's still climbing, oven door's open, and eventually it'll come down again. But it does take a while. And this chart over here shows those different levels of exposure where, it's fine, we're all good. It being harmful for folks who are vulnerable, like I mentioned earlier, that's things like asthma, other respiratory conditions, certain cardiac conditions, lots of different things that might make us more sensitive. Okay, for 1 hour of exposure, high enough that it's dangerous for everyone. Everyone may experience some symptoms if they're too close and right in it.
My apologies.
Yeah.
What does the black line and the dotted line represent? The black line is VOCs. What is the?
Yeah, so we've got the VOCs in parts per billion. So yeah, and then up here is the plume air quality index.
Okay.
It's also very tiny writing, so no worries. Yeah, we've got the NO2 up there. Yeah, and then the VOCs down there. Great question. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, people who do a lot of smoking, or especially vaping, the projections that are in the chemicals that allow it to vaporize are not unsimilar from the same ones produced in the stove, specifically formaldehyde. And the point that if you have to be, in a relief line or waiting in a enclosed space, or especially with a parent or family member that's constantly using them in an enclosed space, those are also secondary issues, and it's a challenge, but always valid to explain to them the toxicity and its impacts, especially for children.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, and not just for children, but for older folks, for anyone with those health conditions, but really for any of us, right? None of us want to be breathing in things that are harming our health.
So swag the super cool kids with the vapes in the line where you're waiting to go to the concert.
Yeah, and you mentioned, folks smoking or vaping in the home. Obviously, not a good idea. Not something that's going to be healthy. But if you're navigating a living situation where we don't have control necessarily always over the other humans in our space, maybe we can use something to make sure that our bedroom is clean and the air in there is good. And then that's a space that we can go into. And yes, yeah.
Clarify on the graph.
Yeah.
I'm understanding it.
Mhm.
This is just from having the oven and the stove
Yes.
on.
Mhm.
So it actually got to a harmful enough level to where it was dangerous exposure.
Yes.
And to where people should have left the house.
Yes. And I wasn't there for this, and I don't remember exactly how close the monitor was. When they were doing that measurement. So one of the things that they talk about also is, you know, if we have to cook on gas, using just the back burners that are closest to a vent, so that hopefully all of the nasty stuff is getting pulled straight up and out of our space instead of right near us. Yeah. Yeah, so it might have been that this was really close, you know, closer than where most people would be standing, but it's still concerning, right? And we've really been, you know, cooking with gas is really normalized and it's a really common thing, but unfortunately, you know, this is what the science shows us. Yeah.
Has any other similar research been done on like glass top stoves or electric stoves? You know, the heat output from those items?
Yeah.
Similar? I'm sure you don't get the same plumes.
Right. So there's the issue with those, the pollutant matter that comes more off of electric or gas top stoves has to do with the material that's being cooked. And so if we're, you know, frying things and it's getting hotter, or if we're like charring something, then there's more particulate matter that's coming into the air. There's a really small, there's a much smaller amount of, you know, other broader chemicals and gross things that can come off, but it's much smaller than with gas.
And I'm only
Yeah,
asking because I have a preference for gas.
Yeah,
stoves.
right.
But I have a glass top and
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
Yes, and that is a common thing. Yeah, and it takes, yeah, that's a common thing. Yeah, from what I've heard from folks who have an induction cooking system, they find it's much more similar to gas than like a normal electric stove. Yeah. Yeah.
So the difference would be, I mean, there's a byproduct that burns off from gas.
Yes.
So that would be the only difference depending on what you have on the burner.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So if I have electric, my exhaust fan blows across the top of my head. So I shouldn't have to worry as much when we get down to the nitty-gritty particulate.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. When you have electric and there's an exhaust fan or something that's venting the air out, usually that's more to get rid of odors, or, you know, if something burns on the stove, if we wander away and forget about something and it gets a little bit toasty. Yeah. No, none of us have done that. None of us are busy people who get distracted. All right. Any other questions about any of that? Are we ready to get into it? All right. We'll see how long it takes for folks. I'm going to ask my wonderful volunteers to help with distributing some of these. Alejandro with Beyond Toxics is going to be leading us through a hands-on activity. Please feel free to grab some more food if you'd like. We'll take 10-ish minutes, maybe longer if folks need it.